Welcome to my video about teaching and assessing reflective practice using the ePortfolio. My name is Sitebaling Susan Dintwe. Today's presentation focuses on what an ePortfolio is, based on the teaching practice perspective. The student teachers, for example, are expected to attend the classes before teaching practice, so that after their teaching practice, they will be in a position to develop an e-portfolio. So students attend the class to learn about teaching in preparation for teaching practice and be able to develop an e-portfolio. This is some of the information they learn from the class. Teaching practice information guides. Teaching practice proposal, there is a plan of what they are going to do in the field, which has to be approved by the instructor before they go out to do their teaching practice. In other words, they will be learning on what teaching practice proposal is, what to include, and how to write it. Then also they will be taught on how to develop a video recording their teaching sessions, because they are expected to share their teaching sessions, which they would have recorded with the class. And also in the class, there is a specific prescribed textbook which students are expected to read and to learn more about what teaching is all about. So in the class, there will be specific topics relevant to what teaching is all about, and students will be discussing and participating. Through that, the students are also expected to go out and do more search or to get more sources, going into the library or Google search, that is the internet, to read more about what teaching is all about. Then in addition, the students will also be taught on teaching resources, in other words, the materials that they are expected to prepare, which they will be using in the field. That is, for example, like how to develop learning objectives. And then the students also will be taught and made aware that it is their responsibility to identify the teaching practice site and supervisors, because they will be working very closely during the teaching practice with the supervisor on site. And in addition, the students also would be made aware of the forms, teaching practice forms, because there are forms, placement and assessment, which will be completed by them, the students, and also the supervisor on site has to complete and sign the forms, and also the instructor. So that being said, so all this information that the students are learning from the class, the students are supposed to make sure that they keep track of all the information they learn about teaching. In other words, keeping a log book to keep track of all information so that they should not miss out any information, because all this information has to be included in the e-portfolio. So, what is an e-portfolio? It is a collection of work evidence in an electronic format that showcases their skills, experiences, and learning over time. In short, it is like a personal website where, for example, the students are digitally collecting artifacts. For example, and this is created by a student teacher, for example, related to their coursework, what is expected from their coursework, because as I have already mentioned that they attend the class. And this includes a diverse artifacts, which includes the media and documents. So the students are free to choose what artifacts to include to reflect on the process of their learning. So this is a student-centered perspective. They reflect, for example, on all essential information about the teaching practice which they have learned in the class. That is the theory they learned in the class, the information they learned from each other. So, why do we prepare an e-portfolio? What is the importance? What do you benefit from it as a student teacher? It is like building your own website, as I have already mentioned, a personal website. It enhances your learning and you keep track of what you are learning from the classroom. And it teaches you how to present yourself online in a professional way. As I have already mentioned, that it is a digital collection of artifacts. So what you learn from the class, it will be compared with what you are going to do in the field. In other words, you will be in a position of applying the theory into practice, that is in the field, conducting your teaching practice. So at the end of the day, then you reflect and make connections through digital collection of artifacts. So all this information, as I've already mentioned, is included in the e-portfolio. So it is very important for the students to keep track and be able to note down all the information they learn in the class and whatever information they needed for their e-portfolio. So having said that, an e-portfolio can be created in various forms. It can be created through a Brightspace, PowerPoint, or Google site. So I hope my explanation of explaining what e-portfolio is in my presentation today has enabled you to understand what e-portfolio is in simple practical terms, what it is, what to include in it, and why is it important. And to create it, how do you create it? Where is it that you create it? Which softwares do you use, or where do you go to create it? As I have said, it can be Brightspace, PowerPoint, or Google site. So that being said, I will just say thank you and watch my next video to learn more about creating e-portfolio through Brightspace, because I will take you step by step through the Brightspace to create your e-portfolio, to include all the information that you learn from the classroom and all the artifacts that you might have collected, and all the information that you learned also during the teaching practice. So you find that an e-portfolio, as I have said, is a collection of information, collection of artifacts, which should be included in your e-portfolio. Thank you.